Landman fans, hold on tight because what I'm about to share with you is going to completely blow your mind. The moment we have all been desperately waiting for is finally here. And trust me when I say this, the first look at Landman Season 3 is everything we dreamed of and so much more. From the very first second of this trailer, I could feel my heart racing because the energy, the tension, and the stakes are on a completely different level compared to anything we have seen before in this show. And I know you've been asking, I know you've been waiting, and I know you've been wondering what is going to happen after that devastating Season 2 finale. Well, the wait is over, because right now, I'm going to break down everything we see in this trailer, every detail, every hint, every single moment that tells us where this story is going. Get ready because Landman Season 3 is about to change everything. Let's start from the very beginning of this trailer because the opening alone tells us so much about where Season 3 is headed. And honestly, the first thing that hit me when I watched this trailer was how different the atmosphere feels compared to Season 2. In Season 2, the tension was mostly about business, about money, about Cammy's dangerous decisions, and whether MTEX would survive. But in this trailer, the tension feels deeply personal. It feels like every single character is now fighting not just for their company or their money, but for their survival, for their family, and for everything they have ever worked for. And that shift in tone alone tells me that Season 3 is going to be the most emotionally intense season this show has ever produced. Now the trailer opens with Tommy, and right away you can see it on his face. This is not the same Tommy we met in Season 1 who was just trying to figure out his place in the oil world. And this is not even the Tommy from Season 2 who was constantly trying to hold MTEX together while dealing with Cammy's unpredictable decisions. The Tommy we see in this trailer looks tired. He looks like a man who has been carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders for far too long. And he is reaching a breaking point. And that detail scared me more than anything else in this trailer because we already saw in the Season 2 finale that all the stress was starting to affect his health. So seeing him look this exhausted in the very first moments of the trailer makes me genuinely worried about what Season 3 has in store for him. But then the trailer shifts and we see CTT. And I have to be completely honest with you, the way CTT looks in this trailer gave me chills. Because in Season 2, CTT was just an idea, just a plan that Tommy and his family were putting together. But now, in Season 3, CTT is real. It is alive. It is operating. And the scale of what Tommy, his father, and Cooper have built together looks absolutely massive. You can feel the pride in every shot connected to CTT, and that pride feels earned because we watched this family go through so much to get here. From Cooper barely knowing anything in Season 1, to Cooper getting himself into serious trouble, to Cooper proving himself in Season 2 as someone who truly knows how to extract oil, and now here we are watching Cooper stand at the center of something that could become the most successful thing this family has ever done together. And I genuinely believe, based on everything I see in this trailer, that CTT in Season 3 is going to be Cooper's masterpiece. This is his moment. This is where everything Cooper has learned, everything he has suffered through, and everything he has fought for finally comes together into something extraordinary. And speaking of Cooper, the trailer gives us some really important hints about his personal life as well. And honestly, the developments there are just as exciting as anything happening with CTT professionally. Because we know from Season 2 that Cooper and Ariana's relationship evolved into something much deeper, and we saw them moving toward marriage with both families supporting them. And in this trailer, you can see that their relationship has moved even further forward. There is a warmth between them in the trailer that feels different from anything we saw in Season 2, a kind of quiet strength that suggests these two are no longer just figuring out their relationship, but are actually building a life together. And that is genuinely beautiful to see. Especially for a character like Cooper who went through so much personal chaos in the early seasons. But of course, nothing in Landman is ever completely simple or easy, and the trailer reminds us of that very quickly because the accusation Cooper faced in the Season 2 finale has not gone away. In fact, based on what the trailer shows us, it looks like that case is coming back in a very serious way in Season 3, and Cooper is going to have to face it head-on, while also trying to run CTT and build his life with Ariana at the same time. And that combination of professional pressure and personal pressure bearing down on Cooper all at once is exactly the kind of storyline that makes this show so compelling to watch. Now let's talk about something that the trailer makes very clear from early on, and that is the Galino situation, because this is the thread that connects almost everything happening in Season 3. Galino was already a threatening presence in Season 2, but in this trailer, Galino feels like a completely different level of danger. The way Galino is portrayed in these early scenes of the trailer suggests that whatever plan he has been building quietly in the background is now starting to come into full motion. And that is terrifying when you think about it. Because remember, Cammy is completely under Galino's control right now. After everything that happened in Season 2, after all of Cammy's dangerous decisions with MTEX, she is now in a position where Galino has enormous power over her. And if MTEX goes into bankruptcy, Galino could potentially seize all of her assets. That is not a small threat. That is a threat that could destroy everything Cammy has ever built. And what makes this even more complicated and more emotionally difficult to watch is that Tommy is now using Galino's money for CTT. So Galino has leverage over both of them now. He has leverage over Cammy through MTEX, and he has leverage over Tommy through the money that CTT is operating on. And that means one wrong move, one moment of bad luck, one decision that does not go according to plan, and Galino could come down on both of them at the same time. The trailer makes you feel the weight of that threat in every single scene that involves either Tommy or Cammy, and honestly, it is one of the most brilliant things about how this season has been set up, because you cannot watch this trailer without feeling a constant low level of dread underneath every moment of hope or progress that you see on screen. And that brings me to Cammy, because I think Cammy's storyline in Season 3 might actually be the most emotionally complex and difficult arc in the entire season, and the trailer gives us some really powerful hints about where she is headed. Now look, I know that Cammy firing Tommy at the end of Season 2 made a lot of fans incredibly angry, and honestly, I completely understand that reaction, because watching Cammy make that decision after everything Tommy did for her and for MTEX was genuinely painful. But here is what I think the trailer is showing us about Cammy in Season 3. She is not a villain. She is a person who is trapped. She is a person who made decisions out of fear and out of the pressure that Galino was putting on her, and now she is living with the consequences of those decisions in a way that is clearly destroying her from the inside out. You can see it in the trailer. There is a version of Cammy in these early Season 3 scenes that looks completely different from the confident, sharp, and sometimes ruthless businesswoman we saw in Season 2. This Cammy looks scared. This Cammy looks like she is finally starting to understand the full depth of the situation she has put herself and MTEX in. And that moment of realization, that moment where Cammy truly understands what she has done and what she has lost, is going to be one of the most powerful moments of the entire season. And here's what I believe is going to happen based on what the trailer is showing us. There is going to come a moment in Season 3, probably somewhere in the middle of the season when things are at their absolute worst for Cammy and MTEX, where Cammy has no choice but to go to Tommy for help. And I know that Tommy is running his own company now. I know that Tommy has every reason in the world to say no. But the trailer is hinting very strongly that Tommy's loyalty, that deep sense of responsibility that has always defined who Tommy is as a person, is going to win out. And he is going to help her. Not because she deserves it necessarily, not because she earned it after firing him the way she did, but because that is simply who Tommy is. He is the kind of person who cannot walk away when someone genuinely needs him, even when walking away would be the smarter and more self-protective choice. And honestly, that quality in Tommy is both what makes him so lovable as a character and what makes him so dangerous to himself, because helping Cammy while also running CTT, while also managing his relationship with Galino's money, is a combination that could genuinely push Tommy past his limits in Season 3. The trailer also gives us some really interesting hints about the dynamic between Tommy and his father. And I have to say, this relationship looks like it is going to be one of the hidden gems of Season 3. Because on the surface, CTT is a business partnership between 3 generations of the same family. But underneath that professional relationship, there are decades of complicated history, of things said and unsaid, of old wounds that never fully healed. And the trailer suggests that Season 3 is going to force Tommy and his father to actually confront some of that history in a way that they never have before. The pressure of running a company together, of having their names and their money and their reputations all tied to the same venture, has a way of bringing everything to the surface. And I think some of the most emotionally raw and honest scenes of season 3 are going to come from moments between Tommy and his father, when the stress of CTT forces them to finally say the things they have been holding back for years. Now let's talk about something that caught my eye in a very specific part of this trailer that I think a lot of people might have missed on their first watch. There is a sequence of scenes in this trailer that seem to be hinting at a significant shift in the power dynamics of the entire oil world that this show is set in. And what I mean by that is this. In seasons 1 and 2, the show was mostly focused on the internal struggles of MTEX, on the relationships between the characters connected to MTEX, and on the specific threats that Galino represented to that world. But in this trailer, it feels like the camera is pulling back and showing us a bigger picture. It feels like season 3 is going to expand the world of Landman significantly by introducing new players, new threats, and new alliances that are going to complicate everything that Tommy, Cooper, and even Cammy are trying to build. And that expansion of the world, that sense that the stakes are no longer just about one company or one family, but about something much larger, is one of the things that has me most excited about season 3, because it suggests that the writers are thinking about this story in a very ambitious and long-term way. And tied to that expansion of the world is something else the trailer hints at very clearly, which is that Galino's real plan is finally going to be revealed in season 3. Because here's the thing about Galino that has been fascinating and frustrating in equal measure throughout this show. We know he is dangerous. We know he is powerful. We know he has been manipulating people and situations to his advantage for a very long time. But we have never fully understood what the end goal is. What does Galino actually want? What is the plan that all of this manipulation and pressure and control has been building toward? And based on what the trailer is showing us, season 3 is where we finally get the answer to that question. And from the way the trailer presents it, the answer is going to be much bigger and much more frightening than most fans have probably imagined. The scope of what Galino has been planning is clearly not limited to MTEX or even to the specific business relationships we have seen him involved in. This is something larger. This is something that has been in motion for a very long time. And when it is finally revealed, it is going to change the way every character in this show has to think about their situation and their future. Let's shift now to some of the more personal and emotional storylines that the trailer teases, because Landman has always been a show that balances its business drama with deeply human character moments, and season 3 looks like it is going to deliver some of the most moving character work the show has ever done. And the character I want to start with here is Angela, because I said it before and I will say it again. Angela is one of the most important and most underappreciated characters in this entire show. In a series that is filled with conflict, with pressure, with people making terrible decisions under impossible circumstances, Angela is the anchor. She is the one who keeps the emotional center of the show from completely collapsing. And the trailer makes it very clear that in season 3, Angela is going to be more important than ever. Because, as we already talked about, Tommy is in a very vulnerable place going into season 3. The stress of season 2 has already started to affect his health, and the pressures he is going to be facing in season 3 with CTT, with Galino's money, with Cammy's situation, and with his own family are only going to get more intense as the season goes on. And the trailer shows Angela stepping into that situation with exactly the kind of quiet, determined strength that has always defined her character. There are moments in the trailer where you can see Angela watching Tommy with this expression that is equal parts love and genuine fear, because she can see what this life is doing to him, even when Tommy himself is too stubborn or too focused to notice. And I genuinely believe, based on what the trailer shows us, that there is going to be a scene in season 3, probably one of the most powerful scenes in the entire season, where Angela delivers a moment of absolute clarity to Tommy. A moment where she tells him exactly what he needs to hear, where she cuts through all the noise and the stress and the complicated business relationships and reminds him of what actually matters. And I think that scene, whenever it comes, is going to be one of those moments that Landman fans talk about for a very long time. I also want to spend some time talking about Ainsley because the trailer gives us some genuinely exciting hints about where her storyline is going in season 3. And honestly, what I see in the trailer has me much more interested in her arc than I was at certain points in season 2. Now look, I was honest in the past about the fact that Ainsley's college storyline in season 2 took a little while to find its footing for me. At first, it felt somewhat separate from the main tension of the show, but then something really beautiful happened. Ainsley found her relationship with Paj John, and watching these two very different people, these two opposite personalities, slowly learn to protect and care for each other, became one of the most genuinely touching things in the entire season. And what the trailer is showing us about Ainsley in season 3 suggests that the growth she found through that friendship and through her college experience in season 2 has fundamentally changed who she is as a person. The Ainsley in this trailer carries herself differently. There is a confidence and a maturity there that was not present in season 1 or even in the early parts of season 2. And the trailer hints strongly that this more mature, more grounded version of Ainsley is going to start playing a much more active role in the lives of the people around her. She is not just going to be the daughter figuring out her life anymore. She is going to be someone who other people in this family actually turn to. Someone whose perspective and strength becomes genuinely valuable to the people she loves. And I think that evolution in Ainsley's character is important not just for her own storyline, but for what it means for the family dynamic overall in season 3. Because one of the things that makes CTT such an interesting development in this story is that it is a family business in the truest sense of the word. 3 generations working together with all the love and complication and history that comes with that. And Ainsley, even though she is not directly involved in CTT, is still part of that family. She is still connected to everything that Tommy and Cooper and their father are building. And as she becomes a stronger, more mature person, her connection to the family story and her ability to support the people she cares about is going to become one of the emotional backbones of season 3. Now, there is another element in this trailer that I want to talk about because I think it is one of the most significant things the trailer reveals, and it connects directly to the question of where this whole story is ultimately going. There are several moments in this trailer where different characters seem to be standing at crossroads, where the choices they make are clearly going to define not just what happens in season 3, but potentially the entire future of every relationship and every company and every ambition that has been built across the first 2 seasons of this show. And the thing that strikes me most powerfully about these crossroads moments in the trailer is how alone each character looks when they are facing them. Tommy alone with the weight of his decision. Cammy alone with the consequences of hers. Cooper alone with the accusation hanging over him. Angela alone with her fear for the person she loves. Ainsley alone with her growing sense of responsibility. Landman has always been a show about what it costs to build something, about the personal price that ambition and loyalty and love all demand from the people who feel them most deeply. And season 3, based on this trailer, is where every character is going to have to decide how much they are willing to